The Cady murders. On April the 12th of 1981, victims Glenna Sharp, known as Sue, her son John, aged 15, and his friend Dana Wingate, aged 17, were discovered in cabin 28 by Sue's 14-year-old daughter Sheila, who was coming home from a sleepover. The victims were bound with electrical wire and medical tape. All had been beaten with clawhammer and knifed. A fourth victim, 12-year-old Tina Sharp, was missing and presumably abducted from the scene. Shockingly, although other cabins were occupied nearby, no one heard a sound. There were 3 survivors of the attack in a room adjacent to the crime scene. Greg and Rick Sharp, 10 and 5 years old respectively, apparently slept through it all. 12-year-old family friend Justin, who was at the Sharps for a sleepover, also survived unscathed. 3 years later, a portion of skull was found 30 miles from Cady. Soon after, an anonymous tipster alerted the Butte County Sheriff's Office that the skull was Tina's. The area was searched again and more bones were found. Despite this discovery, no new information has ever come to light, and the murders remain unsolved to this day. Bible John. Bible John is a nickname for a serial killer who murdered 3 women he met at Glasgow's Barrowland Ballroom between 1968 and 1969. His victims, Patricia Docker, 25, Jemima MacDonald, 32, and Helen Puttock, 29, were all raped and strangled with their stockings within yards of their homes. All 3 women were menstruating at the time and had sanitary napkins placed on or near their bodies. Their handbags were missing, which investigators believe John took as trophies. A key witness, Helen Puttock's sister, Jean, told investigators that she and Helen shared a cab with John the night Helen was murdered. She described him as a soft-spoken young man who often quoted from the Bible. It was this information that led the media to dub the killer Bible John. The hunt for Bible John was Scotland's biggest manhunt, but despite the massive efforts to find him, the trail soon went cold. It is believed that he died, went to jail, or simply left the area. Bob Crane. Bob Crane, star of the classic TV sitcom Hogan's Heroes, was bludgeoned to death in his Scottsdale, Arizona apartment in 1978. The crime remains unsolved. Crane was a household name when Hogan's Heroes aired from 1965 to 1971. While starring as Colonel Hogan, he met John Carpenter, a regional sales manager for Sony Electronics. The 2 men soon struck up friendship. Crane's celebrity status afforded him the company of many women, and he would often introduce Carpenter as his manager. Together, they would seduce women and videotape the encounters. By the mid-70s, Crane was in the throes of sexual addiction and as a result, was a virtual pariah in Hollywood. He was soon reduced performing on the supper club circuit. Some viewed Carpenter as a jealous hanger-on, and by the time of his death, Crane's friendship with Carpenter was on the decline. Carpenter was a prime suspect in Crane's murder from day one. Blood was found in his car, but DNA evidence was unavailable at the time. As a result, Carpenter was not arrested for the murder of Bob Crane until 1992. He was found not guilty and professed his innocence until his death in 1998. No other suspects have ever surfaced, and the case remains open. The Zodiac Killer. The Zodiac Killer terrorized Northern California from December of 1968 all the way through October 1969. Though there has been much speculation as to his identity, he has never been found. The Zodiac identified himself as such through a series of cryptic letters and phone calls to the press and others, and disclosed his reasons for killings. He also offered clues to future murders. His letters included 4 cryptograms or puzzles, but only one has ever been solved, and did not lead police any closer to discovering his identity. The Zodiac claimed responsibility for 37 assaults, but only 7 have been confirmed, of which 5 died. All of his victims were either shot or stabbed. Armchair investigators as well as law enforcement have offered theories as to the Zodiac's identity, but conclusive evidence has yet to surface. So that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like. Until tomorrow, goodbye.